Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Living Life at Life U. This is your host, Dr. Veronica Garcia, and for today's episode, we have an amazing resource to Life University students, specifically in the chiropractic program. We have Dr. John Markham with us. Hi, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. Good to see you, Doc. I'm glad to be here with you. I remember you as a student.
I know. I remember knocking on that door and being like, hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. I was early on, but I definitely wanted to learn a little bit more about what you did. So please, for the audience, exactly, what is your role at the university?
Well, currently, since 2006, I've been in charge of the P.E.A.K program. Mm-hmm. That's the preceptorship program for 13th and 14th quarter students. Mm-hmm. Dr. Tim Gross put the program together, and I got to shepherd this program right along. And P.E.A.K stands for Practice, Excellence, Art, and Knowledge.
Wow.
So that acronym says a lot.
Yes.
Because that's really what we're trying to do, is preparing the students for practice at the speed of life. Right. Most students become involved in the process to the clinic system, but they don't quite know how to apply that on a basis of real life because they're being supervised so heavily in the clinics.
Right.
And so the P.E.A.K program gives them a chance to actually experience what it's like to be in a live practice with real patients who come and pay for their services, and to see how that side of it works when it's not an educational institution program, but a live practice. And I think it works. The feedback I have from the students and our research shows that it's very powerful. So
absolutely. And would you say it's more like an internship, right? Where you get to clock into work and clock out and do all the things and learn all the conversationals, because I do agree. I loved my experience here, and I love that we have the different levels of clinic that allows you to, well, at first kind of work on your peers and then work in a little bit of the outside community that you've already built, and then all of a sudden be in this beautiful practice by doctors who they may or may not have graduated from Life University, but they are opening their doors for students to actually come in and experience that transition. What are some of those, benefits that you think that students have when they go into that P.E.A.K program?
The benefit to the student is amazing and really almost limitless. But there's also a benefit to the doctors. Mm-hmm. Most doctors who have worked hard really want to pass along what they've learned. And it's so interesting how many times the doctors will say when they sign up to become a P.E.A.K doctor, I just want to give back. I just want to reach out a helping hand. I know how hard it was for me getting started. I want to make it a little easier for the next people. So they want to mentor them and teach them and show them what they've learned.
Right.
And I used to do practice consulting, and it was our common thing when the student would graduate and want to get started in practice, we'd like for them to intern for about 9 months in a doctor's office, get their feet wet, then open their own practice. Well, in the P.E.A.K program, they can get most of that accomplished through their P.E.A.K quarters and be ready to open when they graduate. It's actually possible.
That's amazing. It is the absolute final steps, right, in the chiropractic program. You said quarters 13 and 14. I understand that there's a possibility of doing just 14 or just 13. Can you talk a little bit more about the different opportunities within the P.E.A.K program?
Just 13 or just 14 in P.E.A.K?
Yes.
Well, they have to do both quarters as P.E.A.K students.
Gotcha.
Now, they can combine and accelerate their program where they can do 13 and 14 simultaneously.
Okay.
Some students find that to be an advantage. In terms of preparation for practice, they're better off taking the additional time. But there's personal situations and family considerations. Many times they need to accelerate. So that's entirely possible. Some students have lengthened their time by doing the P.E.A.K elective in the middle of the 2 P.E.A.K courses to give them 9 months in an office.
Wow.
Just to learn more.
Yeah.
And some of these docs really go all out to educate the student and prepare them. I'm quite proud of the doctors, and I know the students. The benefit to the students is more than they realize. And if you have a moment, I'll tell you a story. Yeah. Our very first P.E.A.K class, a student got into an office with the doctor that they weren't eye to eye personality wise. It was a big stress. The student was in my office every week complaining about this doctor, asking to be released from the program. And I said, no, this is our pilot program. You have to stick it out. So 6 months after graduation, she came back to my office and she said, you know, I've been in my practice now for a few months, and everything I'm doing in my office, I learned in my P.E.A.K doctor's office. It turned out to be the best educational experience I ever had, even though it wasn't the most pleasant while it was going on. Most students have a great experience while it's going on. But even when it's not, the benefits are more than the student realizes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a beautiful benefit for you to be able to start getting a beautiful taste of what the doctor is about, of what being outside of the classroom, outside of what we call the beautiful life university bubble, where we talk the same language and start impacting the different communities. And talking about communities, I had the opportunity of doing my P.E.A.K internship here in Georgia, but I know that there's a lot of other opportunities outside of Georgia. What are some of those, I guess some of the states, countries? Tell us a little bit more about where you can peak at.
Yes, we have about 250 doctors in Georgia that they can choose from. But we have about 600 doctors outside of Georgia to choose from. We're in 42 different states. There's only a few states that don't allow the students to adjust as preceptorship students. And so we can't go in those states because the students aren't allowed to. But in 42 states we can go into, also in 7 different international destinations.
Oh, exciting.
We have a half a dozen VA facilities around the Southeast and 1 Department of Defense facility in Alaska that we can send students to. So we have a broad array of opportunities. The VA centers have been a great benefit for students who would like to graduate into service in the military care program. And the doctors there at the VA just phenomenal. We just love working with them. And our doctors around the country, a little secret, the students are so much in demand, they want very much to hire life students. And so they would really like to get more. So if we had more students to send out, they'd be happier.
Well, I guess we need to apply more then. We need to reach more people, and that's what we're doing this.
We're doing it.
I love it. And I think that every class is growing a little bit more, which allows us to then keep reaching more communities. And the P.E.A.K program really, for me specifically, it really helped me shape into the doctor that I am today. And it's been 4 years, and I'm still well in contact with my P.E.A.K doctor and all the staff, the clinic managers, the CAs, every single person in the billing department in the practice. And I know that she recently opened another practice that is also within the P.E.A.K because it is under her. And I think that to have the opportunity of having those 6 months of going like we're talking about into that practice personally, it shaped me into understanding that, oh, this is for real, right? This is happening. I am the doctor that I have becoming for the past 3.5 years through every single quarter. And these are the pros and the cons. And these are the things that I can love on, because you don't know what you don't know until all of a sudden it's right in your face and you're like, I didn't think I was going to love that so much until now.
Yes. And that's what I love to hear, how it lands for people, how it opens them up and doesn't scare them, but empowers them. To, I'm ready for this. I can handle this. I can actually be the source of helping others. And that's what got me into chiropractic, was the idea that without drugs and surgery, just with my hands, I could help people with their health. And that chiropractic idea that health is on the inside, to see that amplified and brought to life in these offices, and the students then step up and say, oh, I'm no longer just a student of chiropractic, I'm the doctor of chiropractic. And then when they cross the stage, it's more than just a ceremony. They really are prepared to step in and be the doctor and help people. And that's the excitement.
Exactly. I love that. And what would you advise for maybe students that are in their first year, in their first 4 quarters, do you think that it would be wise for them to maybe start thinking ahead in the P.E.A.K program? And what are some of those steps that they can start to take to prepare for those last 2 quarters?
Well, they must be reading your mail, because each quarter now I'm getting early quarter students contacting me, say, I'm thinking ahead. And what they can do is get the list of doctors and visit offices.
Yeah.
Most of the doctors are happy to have you drop in and just spend an hour with them, see their office, meet their people, get a feeling for how chiropractic flows in their office. And that's a great way. And many times students will find offices to assist in and volunteer in before P.E.A.K, and all of a sudden they've got their P.E.A.K office already lined up because they've developed a relationship.
Right.
They don't have to do it that way, but it sure makes it better, because the fit for them and for the doctor to make sure it's going to be all it can be, it's just so much more sure, and it's better because communication's been established. I love that idea, and students can just contact me if they would like to get more information early on. Happy to do that.
I love that. And where can they contact you? Where can they find you on campus?
You can't find me on campus at the moment.
Oh, no.
And it's not because I'm hiding. The C-Hop building is going through some renovations, so I'm temporarily relocated onto the Lucille Avenue offices.
Okay.
I'll probably be back on campus proper in June.
Okay.
But I'm always available by email.
Yes.
At john.markham@life.edu. And so I can coordinate from that. So just send me an email. I'll get your questions answered. And if need be, I'll even direct you to Lucille Avenue. It's a little hard to find, but we can get you there if need be. But it's a great program, and I'm glad that you thought to talk about it.
Absolutely. It really did shape my experience into kind of also culminating everything, kind of the cherry on top of the whole experience at Life University, and allowed me to make a huge transition into practice that, even though it was huge, it was easy. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking that project and running with it and helping, because you've always, through every email that I sent you, and I know I sent you way too many for him to answer, you always replied out of a sense of love and just understanding with every single question. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for what you do for the students and what you do for the doctors. And watch out for my application to become a P.E.A.K doctor, because it's coming in about 1.5 years. That's how much longer I have to apply for it.
I can't wait till you're there, and I'm so proud of all that you've accomplished and continue to accomplish.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for being with us here today. I ask that you subscribe for notifications for the next podcast here at Life University. Thank you.